Hi, this is part 2 of how I record my drums. In this video, I'm going to talk about how I treat the drums and how I mic them up. So I record my kit with 8 mics, 2 for the snare, 1 above and 1 below, 1 for each of my toms, a pair of overheads, and a kick drum mic inside the kick. So for the snare top, I have a Shure 57, which is very typical. For the bottom snare mic, I'm using an Audix i5, which is like a budget SM57. And I have the same mics inside of the 2 rack toms here. The floor tom, I'm using a Sennheiser MD421. In the kick drum, it's a Shure Beta 52A. And for overheads, I'm using Octava MK12 small diaphragm condenser mics. On all of the drums, I have a piece of fabric, and it's really low budget. I have it tied on the drum with a shoestring. They're cut to the right size from a bed sheet. It's definitely nothing fancy, but I have the bottom heads removed from the 3 toms, and the microphone for the toms are inside, right underneath the drum head. Now, this technique of taking the heads off the bottom of the toms, the kit does not sound very good acoustically in the room, as you would expect with toms that had a resonant head on the bottom. I mean, the bottom head's job is to resonate the frequency of the drum. But what was happening for me is that's too much ring for recording. And my goal for drumming is to record myself for my music that I write. I record, mix, and master my own stuff in this room. So all of that resonant ringing that the toms were doing when other things were happening musically in the room is totally unacceptable. So I had to think of a solution for that, and removing the heads from the toms took care of the resonant ringing drum issue I was having in my studio. And by putting the mics inside, it actually gives them much more isolation for what I'm doing. And the result is actually these huge sounding toms. It was a technique that was in the early 80s, maybe late 70s, called concert toms. They were doing this for live sound, but it gives you a really big tom sound, classic rock, dry, dead tom sound. Also, plenty of drummers will disagree with me, but I'm not a fan of room tone. I don't have my room set up to sound good acoustically with drums. My room's set up dead. It's set up dead so that I can mix and master and record all kinds of instruments in here without the room coloring the sound. That's what I want. So I've got sound treatment on all the walls, lots on the ceiling, really go out of my way to make sure that there's no reverberation in this room. So my overheads are somewhat close to the drum kit because I'm not concerned with picking up the room tone at all. And they're just aimed evenly at the kit so that I get a nice stereo pickup of the cymbals. It picks up the attack of the drums and the toms especially. Then the individual mics really bring out the body and the character and the rest of the tone of the drum. Mixed together with compression and EQ, it really creates a cohesive sound. So that's the basics of how I record these drums. I'm happy to answer any questions. Thanks for watching.